Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right in to conduct what I like to call a visual autopsy on pure, unadulterated speed. We're going to break down just a single photograph of the incredibly iconic Kawasaki Ninja H2R, and we're going to figure out exactly how engineering communicates its intent without ever saying a word.
So, what does pure, unadulterated speed actually look like when it's just standing still? I want you to imagine something for a second. How does a piece of machinery, just a collection of metal, carbon fiber, and rubber, communicate absolute velocity before its engine even fires up? How does static design convey kinetic energy? Just kind of keep that in the back of your mind as we kick off this visual tour.
Okay, let's dive into this. Take a moment to just absorb the aggressive macro silhouette of this motorcycle. Looking at this right side profile, you instantly feel its predatory stance, right? It doesn't just sit flat, it crouches. All that visual weight is thrust entirely forward, right over the front wheel, almost like an animal coiled up and ready to strike. Even completely motionless here, against the blank background, those sweeping, downward angled lines, man, they suggest a machine that's actively tearing through the atmosphere.
Now let's look a bit closer. How exactly does this design manipulate the air? I want you to actively scan what we're looking at, specifically focusing on the front profile. What features jump out at you that are clearly designed to carve through the wind rather than just blocking it?
Let me guide your eye right to the nose. Notice what's starkly absent here. There are no headlights, there are 0 side view mirrors sticking up to catch the wind. Instead, all those everyday street necessities, totally gone. They've been replaced by these aggressive, dark, carbon fiber aerodynamic winglets. Look at how they jut out from the upper fairing. They're clearly designed to act like inverted airplane wings, literally pinning the front end down to the tarmac.
So let's take a quick inventory of these visible front-end elements. We've got the carbon fiber upper and lower winglets creating all that downforce. We've got completely smooth, treadless, slick racing tires. And of course, gripping massive rotors, we have the Brembo front brake calipers with that unmistakable red lettering. Together, all these pieces signal one undeniable fact: this machine is built exclusively for the racetrack, not the street. It is absolutely uncompromising.
And that actually brings us to this really beautiful visual tension in the overall design. Just look at the stark contrast between the top half and the bottom half of the front end. Up top, where the rider actually interfaces with the machine, you have a flowing metallic silver fuel tank. It's a smooth, highly reflective aerodynamic curve. But right underneath it, you get the harsh, sharp, air-slicing geometry of the carbon fiber fairings. It's essentially the organic shape accommodating the rider, meeting the brutalist engineering required for wind resistance.
Moving backward, we arrive at the structural heart, the green trellis.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how that vibrant green tubular structural network, which is known as a trellis frame, by the way, deliberately draws your eye. Look at how it weaves and locks completely around that massive, dark, densely packed engine block. It doesn't try to hide the mechanics behind plastic panels. Instead, it literally cages them in, highlighting the sheer massive size of the powertrain it has to contain.
Let's zoom in on that caged beast for a second. Check out the tightly packed mechanical components housed right inside that green trellis. The metallic textures of the dense engine casing are incredibly intricate. Every single bolt, cover, and line has a job to do. And sitting proudly, almost dead center on that casing, is this really prominent, distinct red circular detail. It acts like this little pop of warning color in a sea of dark metal, hinting at the immense forced induction power lurking inside. That red circle actually houses a supercharger impeller that's designed to spin at supersonic speeds. Crazy, right?
Visually, this whole midsection tells a very distinct 3-part story of force. Step 1, that central mass generates the power. Step 2, the highly visible, rigid green trellis physically contains and manages all that violent force. And step 3, if you follow the metal down to the bottom, those beautifully sweeping, multi-layered exhaust pipes channel the explosive output forcefully toward the rear. The design literally maps out the entire flow of energy for us.
Finally, let's pivot and look at putting power to the ground. Let's move to the back and see how this builds into just an incredible piece of mechanical theater. Look at that fully exposed, star-patterned rear wheel. It's beautiful. Notice how you can see the entire wheel design completely unobstructed? Well, that's because the designers utilized a single-sided swing arm. All the mounting hardware is tucked away on the left side, leaving this right side wide open to perfectly showcase that massive, smooth racing tire and the intricate rim.
Just ahead of that wheel, point your attention to the megaphone exhaust. It's polished, angled sharply upward, and honestly, it looks almost like a weapon. Trace that aggressive upward angle right up to the tail section. It's razor sharp, impossibly thin, entirely lacking a passenger seat, and proudly bears the Ninja H2R logo. Every single angle at the back shoots upward and backward, totally emphasizing that sense of departing speed.
So if we summarize everything we found in our visual inventory today, this is really a masterclass in materials. We've got the woven matte carbon fiber up front dictating the aerodynamics, the bright green painted tubular steel in the middle providing extreme rigidity, we have the polished metallic silver bodywork catching the light, and of course the deep, unyielding black rubber slicks. It's a great reminder that at this extreme level of engineering, every single material serves a very deliberate structural or aerodynamic purpose. There is absolutely zero fat on this design.
Pulling back from the micro details, we start to see a cohesive language of aggression.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when form and function operate right at the bleeding edge. The carbon winglets pressing down, the green core holding firm, and that sleek exposed rear end driving forward, they all work seamlessly together. They create an intimidating, forward-leaning posture where the sum of its extreme parts is perfectly balanced. I mean, it looks exactly as fast as it actually is.
You know, the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright once said, "Form follows function." That has been misunderstood. Form and function should be one, joined in a spiritual union. By doing this visual autopsy today, by looking incredibly closely at the H2R, we really learn to appreciate that exact harmony. The extreme engineering required to keep this bike planted on the ground and moving forward isn't hidden away. It is the industrial design. The engineering literally becomes the art. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. If this striking, aggressive, beautiful profile is what engineering looks like when it is completely unbound by the mundane rules of the everyday road, what visual boundaries will design break next? Keep your eyes open, look a little closer at the machines around you, and start asking yourself why they look the way they do. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.